What's up, everybody? I'm Alan Seslowsky, and thanks for tuning into RosterWatch. If you're watching this video, RosterWatch wants to be the first to congratulate you on making your league's fantasy playoffs. Your waiver wire prowess is more important than ever right now. All season long, $0 bidding has helped you pick up hidden waiver wire gems to store for future value. With only 6 teams in your leagues likely active on the waiver wire this week, it's more important now to play fantasy defense on your opponent. Fantasy defense is the strategy of looking over your opponent's rosters and identifying their needs, then actively pursuing players to add to your roster that they may try to pick up, blocking them from bolstering their rosters that may yield dividends down the road over the next 3 weeks. Today on this video, we're going to identify a few players and few fantasy defenses that may fit the bill for a $0 bid. First, let's talk about defense special teams, DSTs for your roster. During the regular season, there's rarely a reason to carry more than one DST at a time. There'll be weeks when you have 2 if you want to hold an elite one during a bye, but for the most part, you're going to be holding either one defense or streaming one at all times. $0 bidding suggested picking up teams like Seattle a couple weeks ago since they faced the Giants last week, the Jets in Week 14, and the Washington football team in Week 15. Hopefully you've rostered them based on this video. But if not, RosterWatch wants you to go to your waiver wire right now and look at matchups for the defenses that for Weeks 14, 15, and 16. It's okay to roster 3 defenses if the need be in exchange for letting go of positional depth. Here are a few suggestions of teams with plus matchups that you could consider picking up. In Week 14, Dallas plays Cincinnati. Tennessee plays Jacksonville. And Arizona faces the Giants. Those are all reasonable pickups. For Week 15, Minnesota plays Chicago. With Mitch Trubisky at quarterback, he could be forced into making some turnovers. Cleveland faces the Giants, and Tennessee faces Detroit, who could be in evaluation mode, and you never know what they're going to have at the quarterback position. Week 16, Cleveland plays the Jets, and Houston plays Cincinnati. All those are reasonable pickups that could be plus matchups, not only if you have your defense, but to block your opponent from picking them up and playing them against you. Next, let's talk about Darrell Williams, the running back on the Kansas City Chiefs, only 2% rostered. Darrell Williams is a player that many of us were excited to draft in August as a hedge to handcuff Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who was a first-round pick. It was clear early on that Darrell Williams was not going to hold much fantasy value, and it's been sitting on the waiver wires ever since. The Chiefs added veteran running back Le'Veon Bell, further pushing Darrell Williams down the depth chart. CH was questionable all week with an illness, and though he was active in Week 13, he delivered a 0 to your fantasy team. The defending champs know that they need their star rookie running back and Lev Bell at full health for the real NFL playoffs, and there's reason to explore that Daryl Williams may have some extended run and some fantasy value during the fantasy playoffs. If your team is solid throughout, but you've been cycling through RB2s, D-Will might be a player that you could start if the Chiefs are without either of their veteran running backs over the next 3 weeks. A perfect $0 bid for the fantasy playoffs. Last, let's talk about Rashard Higgins, the wide receiver on the Cleveland Browns, only 9% rostered. As we spoke about on the introduction of this video, we don't want to just add depth to our rosters right now during the fantasy playoffs for the sake of having non-startable players. We want to add players that we can proactively play over the next 3 weeks or block an opponent from using a startable player against us. Higgins fits the bill perfectly. He's always been a capable NFL player, and his 9 targets in Week 13 are a signal that he may have some serious fantasy value as a top 36 wide receiver the rest of the way. He caught 6 footballs last week, which he turned into 95 yards and a touchdown. Baker Mayfield had time to throw, and it was clear that Jarvis Landry and Rashard Higgins are the preferred targets. He's not a flashy name and could be overlooked by your league mates on the waiver wire this week. He's certainly worth a $0 bid for the fantasy playoffs. All right, RosterWatch Nation, that's it for today. Remember to like and subscribe to get notifications when we go live, and leave us a comment in the video. We will comment back. Until next time, goodbye.